friends, let's kick off today's episode with an odd story. One, I promise you, funny in parts, but has a happy yet fortuitous ending. So remember last month, August, you and I drove the ridiculous, but absolutely wonderful 680 horsepower Panamera SE Turbo Hybrid on Vancouver Island, which in itself is a stunning place. And then we drove the Sport Turismo, which is the one I'd absolutely have. Well, I promised you more Panamera episodes, doing things in reverse as we normally do. Well, the car, and this is the funny part, the car we were supposed to get, let's just say someone had a bit too much fun with it, so it didn't turn up as scheduled, shall we say. But the folks at Porsche, our friend Luke, he came up with a stand-in, a car you and I have never driven together before. Yes, we've driven Macans, but we have not driven one with almost 450 horsepower. So this brings us to the fortuitous part of our story. Let's try a Porsche you and I have never driven before. So something has been bothering me greatly since this turned up on my doorstep. Porsche Macan Turbo with Performance Package. Let me say that again. Porsche Macan Turbo with Performance Package. In the pantheon of cool names for cool cars, that is absolutely one of the worst. It just doesn't roll off the tongue, especially this one, where, man, it's one of the very few baby buggies that is A, attractive, B, incredibly fast. Not just fast, incredibly fast. And this specific one here, serial number ending 701, finished in stunning carmine red with the 21-inch turbo wheels. It's a crime to call it Porsche Macan Turbo with Performance Package. Now granted, I know the folks in Zuffenhausen, and they don't give names very easily. That's why they probably don't call this the Porsche Macan Turbo S, because most likely there's a Porsche Macan Turbo S coming with more power. And I love me more power. But at least give me a better name in the intro. Maybe, it's German, right? So follow me on this one. Porsche Macan Halb Turbo. Get it? Porsche Macan Halb Turbo? Okay, so doesn't quite roll off the tongue. How about you come up with suggestions? Maybe think of this as like a bonus question. Okay, so the biggest reason for being is this thing is more power. So let's unpack this in the canyons and throw some things at it a normal baby buggy wouldn't see. Got a beautiful declining radius turn here, brake, downshift, try to get a second gear, put our foot into it, have fun with this thing. God, the car is so good. It was good before, people, but can I just say, you know what? Yeah, okay, it's a little bit faster, but it's much more fun. The sound, put your foot into it, and this is a 4,200 pound, almost 4,300 pound vehicle. And okay, yes, maybe faster, but you're gonna get a hell of a lot more of this on your face with the performance pack. You know that as soon as this turned up on my doorstep, I posted not only a picture of this, but also a question. I asked you to guess what the total MSRP of this incredibly uniquely built carmine red with 21-inch turbo wheels Porsche Macan Turbo with Performance Package. Now, I am not going to tell you the answer to that question. That I'm going to save for a coming round of the options game, and I promise you it will be interesting. What I will share with you today are two pieces of information. Number one, this car, serial number ending 701, is fitted with 17, count them, 17 individual options. And number two, one of those options equals $8,150. That would be the carbon ceramic rotors. So until the options game, why don't you and I go and take those out and see how they do? Okay, so let's unpack driving dynamics, but in the worst possible scenario we can create, and that is downhill, going rather quick in a baby buggy. And I don't know why some of you people don't like it, the term baby buggy, because that's what this thing is for, even though it's a fast one. Anyway, the thing that you and I really need to unpack here is the difference of those carbon ceramic rotors that are fitted to this specific one and the lower ride height. So let's come around here, nice turn, put our foot into it, and you do notice the lower ride height makes this thing work a bit better than the turbo we drove before. And then for the brakes, please don't try this at home. Brake, 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 going to a beautiful turn here, come around, and you do notice it's an improvement. If I'm honest, is it $9,000 improvement? I think that's a bridge too far. But if for some reason you're like the 2 people a year that would track something like this, absolutely worth the improvement. That said, I do have to give you a disclaimer of this specific application of carbon ceramic rotors, and that is how they work around town. I've been driving this thing for a week, and I did something I normally don't ever do. I brought 2 people into the fray that normally don't drive cars with carbon ceramic rotors. 1 female, 1 male, one of them was a Porsche driver. I won't tell you which one. And they both, I did not tell them what brakes were fitted to this car. They both didn't notice a difference. Now, I will tell you both, actually one of these people, I've given another car that had carbon ceramic rotors, and they came back saying, why are the brakes not working? So one of the big things you notice about carbon ceramic rotor applications around town is they're not as sharp when you're not pushing them hard. Here, there's virtually no difference. Now, over the past 8 years, I have never tried to mislead you into thinking that I am a practical individual, and most likely will never become a practical individual. However, with a 440 horsepower small sport utility vehicle, crossover, baby buggy, whatever the hell you want to call this thing, I tried a bit of a different approach. I let my practical, prudent, accurate driving lady friend check the thing out. I even let her drive it. And yes, she was blown away by how much power the thing had. But the biggest piece of practical input that she gave me was that her pink, oversized yoga water bottle fits in the German cup holders. Okay, so a couple of notes. First and foremost, that Sport Chrono fitted as standard. Not something usual from Zuffenhausen fitted as standard. Number 2, the interior is same as the standard Macan and the Turbo Macan. However, this one is fitted with the Turbo exclusive package. The naming on this one, not great. I really wish they came up with better names. But as you can see, more carbon fiber dress up, and the door sills light up, which that's one of those party tricks I like a lot. You know what, let's go back to Sport Plus while we're having this discussion. It's so much more fun. Okay, downshift. Back to the interior. The coloring changes just a bit. I don't see what they mean when they say the coloring changes, because I see a lot of black and it's too much. Even though the carmine red exterior, which gets a hell of a lot of attention, which you would not believe from a Macan, especially in Los Angeles. I've had a lot of people come up to me and ask me, man, that is a hell of a car, what is it? And this is in a town where there are a lot of Macans. But back to the interior, it's too much black. It's just blah. You need a lighter color or contrast to break it up, at least two-tone here. That's a big thing you notice. If one were to say they have to have the turbo interior exclusive package, it is also fitted with the Alcantara headliner. Very nice touch. Now, it's a lovely touch that is perhaps somewhat, they undermine the beautiful Alcantara when you don't have a sunroof. You know how I feel about this. But how could they have such a nicely equipped Macan, especially one with an Alcantara headliner, and not have a sunroof? I don't get it. Maybe a bit pedantic on my part, and perhaps I'm missing the entire point of the Porsche Macan Turbo with Performance package. Oh, gotta take a breath after a name like that. But I am very proud to report that in my time behind the wheel here, I was able to best the EPA estimates of the regular Porsche Macan Turbo, which is 17 city and 23 highway. Granted, not by a lot, and I absolutely wasn't driving like a grandparent, as you saw. Which brings me to the point here. Yes, this was a wonderful, fortuitous meeting with the baddest daddy in the Macan world, But it wasn't an epiphany, it was a reinforcement of what you and I learned 2 years ago, in that it's a very different tool for somewhat of a different job than the Cayenne. In other words, you look at other car manufacturers and you've got like the Q5 here and the Q7 here, or the XT5 here and the Escalade here. It's like one is below the other. This is the only instance where one is not below the other in many different ways, in what it can do and also in pricing, because you can price this more than the Cayenne and you can price the Cayenne more than this, but none are equal. So yes, the Cayenne has more utility for bigger families. So if you really have kids, that's the one. This one, I understand, you know, I've listened to marketing mumbo jumbo, and yeah, this is for empty nesters or people with young families. I get the whole thing. But really now, with an extra 40 horsepower and 36 extra pounds of torque, which we love, it just makes this incredible tool even that much more sharp. Now, I'm going to turn this around to you guys, and I'm not going to give you the full price of this one with a serial number ending in 701, because we are going to do a round of the options game, and it's going to blow your mind when we go through everything on it. But I will say the base price, $86,000 US. Not exactly the cheapest tool for the job for empty nesters or young families. So my question to you is this: what would you do with an $86,000 crossover SUV thing, even a cool one like this? What do you do with it? Because I'm still scratching my head thinking to myself, what would I do with it? And I can't come up with a credible answer. So let me know what you would do, where you currently live, and what you currently drive. Let me know in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV all in word, MotoManTV all in word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I want to leave you with two things. Number one, I am just tired of beating you over the head about subscriptions. Please do that whole thing. But more importantly, I would ask you, please consistently watch our episodes within the first 24 hours. The YouTube situation is so bad for YouTubers, big and small, no matter the genre. There is a term for it. It is called adpocalypse. Number two, I want to leave you with a fun fact, and it has something to do with a name. You know, I just can't get over how badly named this thing is. And it was funny, in my time with this, I was watching South Park on a live stream on YouTube. And of course, the one episode that like correlates to this car came up. It's the one with Funnybot, the German robot. So maybe that could be a contention for the name here. Funnybot, or Fastbot, or maybe some other character from the South Park world. Anyway, until I see you next time, bis später.